We're going to help out the Adelaide listeners, or we hope we will anyway, because we've just found out that their first match here in Melbourne is at Windy Hill, no less. That's a real baptism of fire. We think we should give them a few tips, don't we, Torch?
Well, I think going to Windy Hill particularly, I don't know whether Chris has had any experiences out there, but I certainly have.
I have.
And it's not always the friendliest ground to go to.
It's a great exhibition ground, isn't it? The way some of the kids from the local high schools get down outside the toilets along that tin fence and do all sorts of things that I didn't think 14-year-olds did. I wonder whether 14-year-olds in Adelaide do that sort of thing.
Chris, we're talking to Adelaide listeners. We're going to keep it at that sort of level. Now, let's tell them what to do once they arrive at Tulla.
Well, if they come in from Five Plain to Tullamarine, make sure you get on the bus that is going through Essendon. What you want to do, it might be on the team bus as well, but what you must do is take the Buller Road turn off and go down Mount Alexander Road. Turn left at the Brickmakers Arms, and then if you want to get out and have a bit of a stretch of the legs, just jump out over the railway bridge and follow the crowd and you'll end up at the ground. Make sure you go to the ground that's got the grandstands. If you happen to turn up at an oval which due to stars are playing, ask directions, but ask very politely.
I should also point out something to Adelaide listeners is we have more than one tram here also, and it's not fenced off. You do actually have to stop at the trams, otherwise you're going to have to kill people.
And they go to different places, Helen. I think that's the big thing. You don't just, if you want to go to Glenelg, you don't just jump on any tram in Melbourne.
Yes, well, do we know the number? I think it's probably something like a 56.
You've got to be able to count to go to the football here. That's a big change.
57.
I mean, Tony McGuinness said he learnt more in 5 years here than in 20 years in Adelaide, so I don't know whether he's talking about football or the education system, but you would have to know how to count to get to the football.
Well, it's a small thing, but just watch those trams, and also with the cars on the road, we do have a number of cars on the road, so that when you do stop at the stoplight, there's likely to be other cars there.
And Swanston Street's not a mell yet if you come in after the game.
If you're coming in by the train and you get off at Spencer Street, well, the idea then is to get on the train and take the train to Essendon. There's no station called Windy Hill. The station you get off at is Essendon. Ask somebody when you get there. If by some fluke you happen to miss Essendon and you keep going past Chicana, stay on the train. Go all the way to Broadmeadows and stay together.
Stay there till about 3 o'clock in the morning when the boys come home from a night on the town.
And then take the train back again.
And probably if you're out at Broady Torch, it'd be a good idea to wave around your Adelaide scarf in the pub, wouldn't it? Especially if Adelaide's won by 10 goals.
What I would do then was, once I got back to Essendon, I would follow the crowd. I wouldn't carry too much with me, especially
no deck chairs. No deck chairs, because you'll definitely want to make a quick exit from the ground, whether you win or lose. And the one thing that's very important for the Adelaide supporters is don't identify yourself in any way at all in the Essendon ground.
It's a bit of a psychological leap, isn't it? Because in Adelaide you've got about 20,000 Adelaide supporters and 2 Victorians, and you can give the Victorians hell. And, I mean, probably in the first couple of minutes it'd be a good idea to pick out the lone Essendon supporter in the crowd at Windy Hill and give that person hell.
Also, if you end up at a place which is very slopey and very bitumenised and it's under where the windsock used to be, don't barrack for the Adelaide Crows. In fact, start barracking for Essendon and hide all paraphernalia.
In fact, there's parts of the ground that slope, aren't they, which are very much Essendon strongholds. So you should be aware of that as well.
It's funny over in Adelaide, isn't it? There aren't any slopes. I mean, the whole place is just dead flat.
Any other sorts of on-ground behaviour that we think is important?
Well, for me, I'd say that if you have to leave Essendon very quickly, and you may have to do that, Saturday afternoon shopping has been in vogue in Melbourne for quite some time, so you could whip down to the city and catch a bit of quick shopping in the...
But only with hard cash. I mean, if they hear those South Australian adjectives and adverbs in your voice, they'll want to know whether you've got money in the bank.
All right, and the last tip would be that with the pies here, you're going to have to bring your own pea soup.
And your own can of ammonia, too, to make it smell like a pie floater.